Hello, my name's Michael Keneally, and this is a video presentation of Rahu, the north node of the moon, which is used in both Western and Vedic astrology and is an immensely powerful statement to be made from our birth chart in either Western or Vedic astrology, and is immensely powerful to understand in predictive periods or transits. So fundamentally, the nodes of the moon are a statement of our incarnational life purpose, of our destiny this time. They're difficult to understand for us in this life, but understanding them is absolutely crucial if we're ever to sort out our life or get to burn the difficult scripts that we may have come through with from past life, or manifest the talents we are born to manifest in this life. So basically, the nodes of the moon are, to cut a long story short, the eclipse points at the time we're born. And so basically, Ketu, the south node of the moon, represents where we come in from this time, what we bring to the life. And Rahu, the north node, which is always exactly opposite the south node, represents the focal point of our destiny this life. We're thrown and driven from Ketu position to Rahu position. But in fact, unless we purify our Rahu and get to understand it, we will never arrive at our destination. And so the ancient Vedic culture depicted the energy of the nodes of the moon as serpent wisdom, serpent energy. And the magic of the serpent is deep within the ancient human consciousness. All ancient peoples reflect the difficult serpent energy before the coming of a more sky god consciousness. And so the myth, which is detailed for you in one of the three-part presentation, the three videos I've done on Ketu, the south node, is quite simply that there was war in heaven, and that following the war, a demon, a serpent demon, got a drop of Amrita and shared God consciousness and became immortal. And so the gods threw a discus at the serpent and severed its head from its body and feet. And so Rahu, the north node, is the head of the nodal serpent, the eclipse serpent. And he is, driven, but without a heart. Ketu, the south node, is heartless and instinctual. So it's a very deep thing to understand. And I think as you learn to work more and more with the nodes of the moon in your birth chart and your life, you begin to understand, begin to recognize how these important scripts manifest. So do look at the three-part Ketu videos to understand the south node. So Rahu, what's he like? Well, basically, quite evocative keywords in the ancient Vedic literature say Rahu has a dark body. He resides in forests and he engenders fear. He creates smoke. He is airy or mentalistic and Vata in constitution. Now actually each of those words is a keyword to huge understanding, which I can't go in here. But to really understand the message of the nodes of the moon in your chart and your life, contact me for an astrology reading. Indeed, I do mini readings just on your incarnational life purpose. or enroll on my astrology courses. I do a Western astrology course, www.enlightenedastrologycourse.com, and a Vedic astrology course, www.mastervedicastrology.com. So the energy of Rahu, as I said, is driven. And if it wasn't driven, it would never give us the impetus to go through all the traumas and churning to find our life purpose and a deeper spiritual perception. So the energy of Rahu is animal-like, insatiable and instinctual. It can't be governed by conscious will or intelligence. It's outward rather than inward. And so it tends to manifest as obsession, probably what Western psychodynamic theorists would call obsessional drives arising from our unconscious. Insatiable desire. And indeed, Rahu can offer us considerable material success, but I'll be coming to that and what that means. So basically, to have Rahu closely conjunct your sun can bring you great material success, huge political and material power, and indeed it's deep in the birth chart of Donald Trump, the present President of the United States of America, and in the three-part presentation to do with Ketu, the third part is a detailed case study of the nodes of the moon for Donald Trump. But although Rahu, when strong in your chart by sign, house or aspect, may bring you material success and worldly power, that's not necessary inner fulfillment. It can be completely cut off from actually who you are, because for whatever reason you were cut off from your true identity. And it's all very complicated and shadowy because a strong Rahu can actually bring strong psychic powers and mediumship, although there's danger for negative forces. And I've known various people in my 22 years of practice who've unwisely raised Kundalini energies, not in the best way, and when Rahu is activated, that has brought them very considerable problems, and these are quite well known in the field of Kundalini. But of course, the raising of our Kundalini energies can bring great gifts of empowerment, of inspiration, but it needs to be done carefully. And indeed, a Rahu person, or a person under the influence of Rahu from their birth chart or predictively, can be carried away through mass trends. And some of these, of course, can be disastrous. Maybe the Crusades, witch hunts. But some of them can be driven, yes, but connect us with positive spiritual perceptions and energy receptions. But it needs discernment about what's going on. So at its worst, Rahu can represent self-delusion, psychosis, insanity, mental problems. To have Moon conjunct Rahu is a major indicator of difficulties of emotional balance, even in insanity. There definitely can be negative energy attachments, possession, and, tragic use of alcohol and drugs. But of course, remember, there's always healing modalities available and ways of seeking to perceive clearly fluctuations in our consciousness and manage those, and thus get the buried treasure out of the difficult phenomena. A bit like it's working with Pluto. And Rahu can certainly generate fear and paranoia, but he can be psychic and lead through trance. And basically Rahu disturbs us and creates doubt, but that can again drive us to find spiritual inspiration. But at its worst, it's lethargy, grossness and insensitivity. And Rahu is also lord of magic. Now actually magic is really important. We need to be able to have our magic run in our life if we're ever to create what we're born to create, if we're ever to get out of prison, if part of our destiny is ending up in imprisoning situations. And so Rahu can lead us to occult study of abstruse subjects. The deep purpose is to strip away the smoke of Rahu's surrounding delusion to lead us to our true self. And also Rahu's the outcast, and so very often where Rahu is in your chart, you'll manifest success in foreign parts or outside the main run of society. So in fact Rahu and Ketu, the nodes of the moon, are key to unlocking the relationship of our self in this life with our past lives. And what to do about it, what we incarnated, what our soul chose to do about scripts coming in from past life, missteps, things that need to be corrected, things that need to be brought to fulfillment. So the nodes are vastly powerful, and their influence has a huge spiritual significance for us. And they work in a sort of odd way of unconscious currents, working at the psychological level and at the event level in our lives. And the purpose can be material, can also be spiritual as well, it can just be spiritual. And so basically the suffering and darkness they can create to our less mature consciousness can actually cause us to assess our scripts, our desires and our wants, seeking moksha or salvation or enlightenment. They reveal the havoc of our dark sides in our life in order to motivate us to find our light side potential and our true light self. So Rahu's quite complicated. He works in the material realms and around our ambitions and around our consciousness. He can be an energy that's quite demonic and sometimes catastrophic, and some individuals clearly manifest this if you look at history and present current affairs. But because Vedic astrology is tantric, out of darkness we can find light. And thus witnessing the darkness and tumult and evil and destruction of Rahu, it can actually make us say, I won't be like that. I'll live my life in a way that grows my light. And so, it's out of darkness light, and because Vedic astrology is tantric, that is possible. And remember, Rahu drank the Amrita, so he has the God energy within him. So there's a blog associated with this video which gives you a lot of detail. I'd just like to end by mentioning, I think, a quite fascinating thing, and that is, well, the difference between Rahu and Ketu. Look at the three-part presentation on Ketu. But, let's just do a little case study. What does Ketu do to your sun, and what does Rahu do to your sun? And so if you're a sun conjunct Ketu individual, or, your sun is in a Ketu-ruled nakshatra or lunar sign, etc., well, basically, Ketu will overcome your solar self through contractive energies, isolation, alienation, can even be obstinate separatism, lack of self-confidence, lack of self-worth. even though sometimes these can be covered by illusory self-aggrandizement. Oh, I'm the most wonderful, whatever. So Ketu can create someone who's very critical, particularly if Ketu's conjunct the moon. But Rahu is very different. He's expansionary, he's driven. So he can vastly magnify and inflate the power of your sun or planet, for example. He can create vast popularity, vast prestige, vast fame, vast power. But what profiteth it a man if he wins the whole world and suffers the loss of his soul? So that gives you a sort of idea of the difference between Rahu and Ketu. So as I said, if you want to know more, contact me for an astrology reading or a mini reading just on your life purpose, or do one of my wonderful worldwide astrology courses. Thank you.